This video is C6 subtraction. It's very specifically subtracting across the 0 when you have a 3-digit number. Still have the same rules that we had when we were subtracting normally. Don't go borrow unless you have to. And you can only borrow from your next door neighbor. That's going to be very important in what we're doing. So like what I showed you yesterday, we have a ones place, a tens place, and a hundreds place. The person in the ones place, in the ones house, they're only allowed to have ones. The person in the tens house, they're only allowed to have tens, and the person in the hundreds house is only allowed to have hundreds. That's why there's going to be a bank nearby where you can make some changes. So our first problem is 702 minus 374. So we start in the ones column, 2 minus 4. Does SpongeBob need to go trade? Or not, does he need to trade? Does he need to borrow some money? Yeah, because with 2 you can't pay a 4 back. So he runs over to Squidward, who has nothing. Squidward says, I'm sorry, SpongeBob, you can't borrow from me, but let me go see if I can borrow some from the hundreds. So Squidward runs over to Patrick. Patrick goes from 700s to 600s. Squid takes his one 100 that he borrowed, goes to the bank. For that one $100 bill, they're going to give him 10 tens. So now he brings it back. He didn't have any, and he brought back 10 tens, so now he has 10 tens. Now SpongeBob can come back and try again. So now SpongeBob comes back. Hey, Squidward, can I borrow from you now? Yes, because Squidward has 10. He's very willing to give up one of his. So he goes down to 9. SpongeBob goes to the bank, trades in the 110 for 10 ones. And he already had 2 ones, so 10 ones and 2 ones is 12. And then we just subtract. 12 minus 4 is 8. 9 minus 7 is 2. And 6 minus 3 is 3. You may have noticed after we do all the borrowing with the 0 in the middle, once you start subtracting, you're just subtracting all the way because you've already done all the work. Let's try another one. 8 minus 5. SpongeBob does not need to borrow this time. 8 minus 5 would be a 3. 0 minus 3. Yes, Squid's got to go borrow. Comes, borrows from the 4, makes him a 3. Goes to the bank, trades it in for 10. He has 0. He had 0, and now he adds 10. So he now is at 10. 10 minus 3 is 7. And 3 minus 2 is 1 for 173. 0 minus 6. Sponge is going to need to borrow. Comes the neighbor. Hey, can I borrow from you, Squid? Sorry, don't have anything. But I'll go see if I can borrow from my neighbor. So he does. Patrick goes from 5 to 4. Squidward changes in for 10. He didn't have any, so he now has 10. SpongeBob now comes back to borrow from him. Makes him go from a 10 to a 9. SpongeBob trades it in at the bank for 10 ones. 10 ones plus no ones equals 10 ones. And then we just got an easy subtraction to do. 10 minus 6. 9 minus 8, and 4 minus 3. Try another one out. 1 minus 3, do I need to borrow? Absolutely. Some people go, hey, can't we just come over here and borrow? Why don't we, because Squidward looks very bad that we're borrowing from him all the time, so why don't we just skip him? Well, the problem would be Patrick's only allowed to have hundreds, right? So if you went to the bank and traded in 100, they would give you 100 ones. And then you would be sitting here going, well, I got 100 ones plus the one I had. Ooh, then I got to do 101 minus 3. Ooh, that is not nice. So he's going to come try and borrow from him. Squidward doesn't have any, but he can borrow from Patrick. He goes from 7 to 6, traded in at the bank for 10. 10 tens and no tens is 10 tens. Now SpongeBob can come borrow. He goes to 9. SpongeBob trades it in at the bank for 10 ones. Don't forget this 1 you already had. So this goes to 11. And now easy subtraction. 11 minus 3 is 8. 9 minus 9 is nothing. 6 minus 2 is 4. You stop the video and try it out. Alright. SpongeBob does not need to borrow. 0 minus 0 is 0. Squid does because I can't do 0 minus 5. Borrow from Patrick. He goes from 7 to 6. Trade it at the bank for 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. And 6 minus 4 is 2. Stop the video and you try out this very last one. 0 minus 3. Need to borrow. The 0 comes borrows from the 9, makes him an 8. Go to the bank, trade it in for 10 ones. 10 minus 3 is 7. 8 minus 9, ooh, not quite enough. So he's got to come borrow from the 9, which makes him 8. Go to the bank, trade it in for 10. Remember, we're putting it by the number that's still there because he's down to 8. He borrowed 10 more, so 10 plus 8 is 18. 18 minus 9 is 9. And over here, 8 minus 3 is 5.